We're taking
decide
you
for yourself.
back to Capitol Hill now, where the Senate, you know, and again, Tony P, I loathe using the term burning the midnight oil because it's only 9:36
The amount of vacation they
PM.
get, they can go till 2 in the morning.
Yes, but the question I have right now is, are the members of TMZ DC hard at work outside of this Senate chamber,
I wonder.
or outside of the U.S. Capitol,
They probably should
ready
be.
to grab those lawmakers as they leave? We've seen some big names. We saw Lindsey Graham. We saw Senator Kennedy. We saw Senator Schumer. So the question is, are Jacob, Jackson, and Charlie hanging out waiting for them, or are they, are they working the normal 9 to 5?
Right.
Tony P?
I'll tell you, but they hung out with us today.
They sure did. They spent a little time with us earlier this afternoon talking all about their arrival here in D.C., the reception that they've gotten, their plans for this upcoming White House Correspondents' Dinner weekend. And like I mentioned earlier, I think they're trying to poach my man Tony P, and I am not here
Listen, I don't have the courage they have. You kidding me?
Take a look. Amazing.
I just thought this would be a good way to fit in DC.
Yeah,
a lot of people in DMX shirts around DC.
Right, a lot of people, especially on Capitol Hill, people rocking the long hair, sunglasses, cowboy hats, accents, and DMX T-shirts. Guys, welcome to Washington, D.C., first and foremost, and thank you so much for spending some time with us here on the Live Zone Prime Time. All right, so
to be here. Stoked to be here.
So, all right, let's just start with the most simple. Talk to us about TMZ DC, the mission, and what you guys are doing here in the first place.
Well, TMZ is like a personality. It can be funny, it can be serious, and we're kind of bringing both to the table. It's like at times we'll see senators and members of Congress out on the street, and we'll joke with them, and we'll hear about their personal lives, and we'll talk it up about pop culture. And then other times we'll be straight shooters, and we'll talk about serious issues. So I think it's kind of a blending of the both. And then, of course, we're here to get scoops, too. So I'd say that, and of course, the clips are a huge part of what we do here.
Jacob, let me ask you this. So when thinking about the process behind this, working with the team from TMZ and having, I guess a couple weeks ago, there was the government shutdown correspondent work that happened that kind of triggered this. What was the thought process in LA and behind the scenes to say, hey, this is what we want to do. We want to bring the TMZ treatment to what they kind of call, the East Coast version of like a small Hollywood.
Definitely. Well, you're exactly right in that this whole idea was kind of born, I feel like, off the momentum of the photos that we encouraged our audience to send us just a couple weeks ago. And of course, you saw the Lindsey Graham photo of him at Disney World. You saw Rep. Robert Garcia at a Las Vegas casino. So really, our audience, we listened to them and we ended up, following their lead, and now we're here. TMZ's also been covering politics now for years. This is nothing new to us. Being on Capitol Hill, of course, is its own obstacle within itself. But now that we're here, it really just opens up our opportunities.
I mean, Jackson, Charlie, and Jacob, are you political junkies? I'll let you fix that. We're good to go. We're fine. Are you guys political junkies? I mean, have you guys been paying attention to politics, or is this totally new ground for you? I mean, did you have to literally hit the ground running and familiarize yourself with some of the, Capitol Hill people and logistics and even just the buildings?
Oh, absolutely. Look, I mean, I think I wouldn't say we're political junkies, but we're all politically engaged. I think it's a mistake not to be right now. And entertainment and politics are so intertwined that I feel like we get a good feel of it. But yeah, there's like 550 Congress people that, I mean, I think before last week I knew about 5 of them, 6 of them. Like I could ID that many people. And it's our job here to be standing out in beautiful DC and trying to find these people, recognize them, and so think of an intelligent question for them at the same time. So it has been a challenge, the ID process. The Capitol is so confusing with all the tunnels and the different buildings. And yeah, the whole thing has been an adventure, but one we've certainly savored.
Well, let me ask you this. So there's a lot of media, of course, in DC, and this is a media / kind of political capital. What do you think is the hole or the kind of gap in coverage that you think TMZ and your team are looking to really get into with this new movement?
That's a really good question. I mean, I think we're here for accountability, first and foremost. That's not to say that media in the past hasn't held politicians accountable, but when I get a first-hand look at how media conducts themselves here, I don't think they get the most out of their politicians. I don't think we know everything we should about all of our elected officials. Like, for instance, living in LA, Kim Kardashian and big celebrities are heavily scrutinized to the nth degree. And I don't think, public servants are. Like, they go on CNN, they go on Fox News, they do their question, answer. But I don't think you really get to know who the person is and what they stand for in like a more personal, human way. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get these authentic walk and talk interviews, as well as stories that have some realness to it. And so not to say that the media hasn't been doing a good job thus far, but I think we want to add a layer of authenticity and accountability.
Is there, I mean, do you have any sort of fear that you're going to turn politics? I mean, not that they're not already known, but are you kind of turning them into celebrities the same way TMZ has covered celebrity news for so long?
Turning them into celebrities, I'm not sure. I wouldn't say, look, I think in the sense that when you're in the public spotlight, like Charlie says, in the sense of like a Kim Kardashian, there's a real risk that you're scrutinized, right? And I think that we need to be putting that same spotlight on our politicians. Celebrities, I don't know, I think that has somewhat of a positive connotation to it. I don't think the spotlight we're putting them in is positive or negative, but I think it's just an avenue for us to truly hold them accountable.
Reaction has been from politicians when they're confronted like this versus some of the Hollywood celebrities that you've worked with or done stories on in the past, and how they react to these questions and potentially answer them?
I think it's very similar. I mean, these people are public figures. That's the commonality between the two. And the response that we've been getting from politicians on both sides of the aisle has been absolutely incredible. I think they want to talk. They have a lot to say. And maybe they're not being people aren't asking them the questions about, what they like in pop culture or about their personal lives. We're here to show the personality of DC. And I think it's actually a breather for politicians to sometimes get that question when they're dealing with really heavy issues. And that's what a lot of the media here is here to grill them on, which is great. But we're just, again, sometimes showing a different side.
I can tell you this, having been a reporter on the street for TMZ for 13 years, I've interviewed so many celebrities, and my strike rate of successful interviews is far higher here in DC than in LA. Far higher.
Wow.
So I get far more yeses, barely any no's. And I turn the no, it's not like a rejection. I kind of use that as a chance to introduce myself to the congressman, say, look, I know you might be intimidated right now, but believe me, you can trust us. We're just going to do it fairly. We might do it directly, but we're never going to be crazy or ask gotcha questions. And they've been really responsive to that. So of the stuff I shoot in LA versus here, the quality and quantity is far higher in DC. And that's because the subjects, the politicians, are so down and they give their effort in the interview. They want a good soundbite. So we've been totally surprised by the overwhelmingly positive response, not only from the Congress people, but also from the public, and also, strangely enough, from other media members who may be wearing coaching, but they still seem to be like kind of cheering us on and acknowledging that it's a good thing that we're here.
I mean, to that end, you guys are both the subject of a Washingtonian article that's out now called "Is TMZ DC Creating Social Media Content That's Lab Engineered to Produce Engagement from Smarty Pants Locals?" I also just saw a headline on USA Today about some of the posts that you put out, Jacob, this past weekend, both from Call Your Mother and Tate. And one of the things that stood out to me also was this post from Jessica Sidman at the Washingtonian saying the TMZ guys are the Tony P of 2026. So without further ado,
I'll take that.
there he is. Is that a compliment?
Oh, big
Yeah, are you kidding?
If we can be half as handsome, we'd take it.
If I could have the courage to approach people the way you do, especially as someone who's in the hosting business trying to do this, you guys like really have guts. So I'm honored to be in the same comparison with you. But let me ask you all this question. Like, and I know it's easier in DC compared to LA, but it can still be a lot being on the Hill and trying to navigate and ask these questions openly. What is your biggest strategy to having that courage to going up there and really, interacting with these folks in such an effortless way?
No strategy. No strategy. I see someone, and you can always kind of tell when they're walking around with their aides or their interns, and everyone's looking at the one guy or girl, and you can tell who's important. So if I see a seemingly important person, I'll go up to them with my phone, and, my opening thing is always like, TMZ, we're in DC now. What do you think about that? And that kind of like can develop the rapport. You can have a laugh. And it's not that intimidating because most of these guys are kind of used to it as well. They're very media trained. They like the publicity. We actually, a lot of people call DC Hollywood for ugly people. So a lot of these politicians, they're really down. And as long as I get over the fact like, oh my God, this person is like the leader of a state, or it doesn't really even dawn on you. You just go up to the person and just start talking shit. You know what I mean? Oh, we let us swear.
Well, yeah, just quickly. I mean, we also see people out a lot and we don't shoot them and we introduce ourselves and we have these business cards that I carry around every single day to these guys. And since we're here for the long haul, like we're here to build relationships with people. So we go up to people and I go, hey, like, nice to meet you. Like, Jacob, I'm going to be here. So you want to build a rapport with people.
And adding on to that, I think one of the biggest things that kind of caught us off guard was the willingness of people in Congress and the Senate to work with us. I think as we were coming in, there was a slight sentiment, kind of people were maybe a little bit standoffish, but the more we started introducing ourselves and putting these clips out, and the more they went viral, I felt like DC has welcomed us with completely open arms from both sides of the political spectrum, no matter if you're an intern or a representative. So that's been really cool to see.
So you guys are here. I mean, perfect timing. I mean, this weekend is one of the biggest when it comes to just nerdiest, wonkiest, most political insider media, crisscrossing, blurred lines. We're talking about the White House Correspondents' Dinner. So what's your strategy if you have one, or what are your plans? Where do you plan to be? Who do you hope to see?
Look, it's going to be a very interesting night. We could see anyone. We could see Donald Trump, who's going to be in attendance. And it's going to be a fascinating night because is it going to be combative or is it going to be cordial? Are the reporters in the room going to clap when Donald Trump is introduced? Are they going to laugh when he makes a good joke? Are they going to be able to put their day-to-day jobs and the animosity that Trump and they have for each other, are they going to be able to put that aside for one night? And just the spirit of the night is to have fun and to laugh. And so it's going to be a fascinating evening. We will be there in some respects. Like, this will be our first one. So I don't know what we're going to do. Like, but we'll be there. And we'll be trying to get whoever goes, whether they're a congressperson, a reporter, a comedian, the president. You'll have to have us back on the show next week and we can report back.
You're welcome anytime. So that goes without saying, obviously.
Now, let me ask you all this one. You just mentioned the president. And right now, you're doing a lot of work on the Hill and that type of DC, right? Do you have a potential strategy for White House-type correspondence with the administration, members of the president's cabinet, and more the executive branch? Or do you want to keep it more in the halls of Congress with legislation?
Rome wasn't built in a day. So I think it's good to have our sights set on it. But we're slowly building. I mean, we literally came to DC a week ago from this past Sunday. Like, we're still getting our feet wet, and it's moving pretty quickly. So I think it might be too early to say, Tony P., but that would definitely be exciting down the road.
Any advice, Tony P? Any advice for how we deal with the president if we come one-on-one?
Now, I was more closer to the last president, the Biden administration. He was very much open to influencers like me of my persuasion. But I think overall, the biggest thing is, I think, having connections inside the West Wing, the policy people, the media folks. I think getting that coveted potential, they have the influencer slash digital media seat that they have in the press room every week. Also getting potentially press credentials for that White House press room. That could be interesting too, to get that foot in the door. But I think overall, just knowing those folks, again, those business cards, chief of staff's office, anybody that works in the Eisenhower building, those are the folks that can definitely be helpful. That's what I would say.
We should be paying Tony P for this. Good advice.
You can't have him, okay? He's mine, first and foremost. Let's just establish that. He's mine. I'm not letting him go. I'm keeping him. Guys, listen, you cover celebrities, but let's be honest, you guys are basically stars yourself these days. What is it like just being here in D.C.? Are you enjoying your time? Have you had a chance to go out and hit up the bars? Do you have any favorite places that aren't Call Your Mother and Tate?
Hey, I mean, I'm the youngest one of the group, and I think I've had a good chance to kind of confer with the other youngsters here, if you will. They've shown me around to some of the bars, and
Jackson's rage. Jackson's rage.
You know what? Let's call it rage. Yeah, I've totally raged. I've raged on Capitol Hill, and yeah, I mean, Salt Line, and there's I don't want to out, where everyone goes after work, but they've kind of shown me around, and DC's a fun place. There's a lot to do here if you know your way around, and it's not exactly LA. It's a very different lifestyle, but ultimately love it. Love DC, love the things to do here, love the nightlife.
Now, I did see that a great DC comedian, Donnell Rawlins, dropped by last week to bring us some mumbo sauce and kind of give you I would say, the non-governmental culture of this great city, where it's a very diverse community. It's very great with restaurants and museums and all that nature. When you think about DC generally, there's a reputation of it being this kind of highfalutin, the kind of nerdy city, Hollywood-esque type of thing. Have you seen a lot of that, or do you see more like the city that has that diverse culture, that has beyond things that are beyond the government and the museums?
Yeah, definitely. We've done a lot of walking around the TMZ Hype House, where we're all living our fraternity. It's just down the way here. And
really?
So we've definitely walked through all the neighborhoods around here, Navy Yard. Donald Rawlings actually drove us around the city and took us all the way to the White House. So we've seen a lot of different elements and flavors for sure in DC. I love these little neighborhoods here around the Capitol. Might be a nice place to live one day. But there's, I do find really nice places to eat around here and cool shops and that. There's definitely a nice cultural side to DC.
Nice. Well, it's the whole thing about DC, the town, which is the government circles and all that, versus the city, which we have comics. You have actors that come out of here and the politicians as well. It's kind of a mosh pit of talented people all in one place.
Yeah, it certainly is.
Absolutely, Tony P.
Do we have to call you Tony P? Do we have to add the P?
Yes, you call it whatever you want, okay?
No, it's Tony P, man. Tony P. It's just a great name.
That Donnell Rawlins thing was so funny. I love that he did that for you guys, because he's a legend, and the mumbo sauce, that was a good call.
Guys,
It was the best.
Oh yeah,
The best.
And mumbo sauce.
mumbo sauce is really good.
Mumbo sauce is so good.
Yes, Ben's Chili Bowl, absolutely. And also Florida Avenue Grill, also a great spot.
Thank you, Tony P.
Are you sure you don't want to come work for us? There's always room on the back of our business cards for you. You look really good.
Off the record, we'll talk.
Guys, besides the president, who is like a dream? Who are you hoping to run into? Who would you love to bump into and get on camera?
Good question. It'd be nice to talk to even some of the reporters, other reporters, like, a Jake Tapper, a Caitlin Collins, all of the Fox News folks. A Tucker Carlson would be interesting too. God, I think that we'll get all the politicians. We're going to speak to all the politicians one day or another. But some interesting. I'm looking forward to when interesting people visit to have meetings here. Like the head of NASA was here today, and I unfortunately didn't see him. But people like that, like important people in different fields, that's going to be exciting to see, to open a different world that isn't just politics related.
Absolutely. Then also there's actors that testify, things of that nature.
Yeah.
Sports celebrities. Do you see that strategy working as well, where you'll kind of know when they're coming for testimony and you'll be able to meet with them? Is that also a strategy?
Oh yeah, definitely. And we're big fans of all the local sports teams here now. We've been talking to them, and we want to go along to games. We're DC locals now. We want to get into the
Transplants. DC transplants.
Oh, that what we say?
You guys
Yeah,
get
yeah.
used to being disappointed. I'm sorry to tell you. It's been a
Is it-
long
come
time.
on.
It's
I
been
don't
a
know.
long time.
Chris is from Philly, so he has some type of reference here when it comes to disappointment in teams. But my final question for you is this one. With all this great press, the virality, do you see yourself forming the podcast that everybody does now? Do you see that potentially being looped into this type of process like we see with TMZ out in LA, or do you want to keep it more on the hard-nosed reporting side?
Look, I think the reason we're here is because we have a duty to the people, and I think that with every clip that goes up, we look at the feedback, and if we get to a point down the line where people get to know us, our personalities over social media, and they want a podcast, absolutely. And maybe we'll even maybe that's where the Trump interview will take place.
I like it.
All right, guys, thank you for spending some time with us here on the Live Zone Primetime. We'll let you get back to work. We know we've kept you now for about 20 minutes. Who knows what you've missed in the meantime?
This is a good line.
Yes,
All right,
Thank you,
enjoy
guys.
Correspondents
Thank you.
weekend. We'll check in with you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
yeah.
All right. Cool.
All good?
All good. Perfect. Thank you guys so
Thanks,
much.
guys.
Tony P.
That was fun.
They want you so bad.
We're going to keep bringing this up. I'm very happy here.
And I cut this off of the very beginning because I dropped a 4-letter word and I wasn't allowed to say it. But they said that you nearly got the full TMZ treatment
I
because
did.
Jacob saw Tony P at the airport and almost
On
Tony
Saturday
P
morning,
also
I was
ended
flying
up-
out at like 7:30 in the morning on last Saturday.
Hey, man,
so God
listen,
bless
those
them.
guys
flying.
have hit the ground running.
They have.
They have been everywhere since they arrived here in Washington.
And TMZ,
DC.
the main account in LA, is collaborating with them here in DC. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah.
No need to create a new account if you don't have to. I think boosting all three of these guys with the TMZ account, great move. I think what's really interesting, there's this whole balance. Well, does it kind of become more celebrity in DC? Is this kind of making politicians too much of like a game, right? Mm-hmm. However, though, with a lot of the culture of silence that we see here in DC, that is very much, there's some protection of members of Congress who, have scandals, who do really awful things. I think this could be a breath of fresh air where these politicians are going to be covered every day in the halls of Congress, every minute detail you'll be able to see potentially. And I think bad actors in Congress could potentially get more exposed based on their interactions with the TMZ folks. That can be very helpful to keeping these members of Congress not only maybe more human, but more accountable to the people as well as to their own actions. So you know what?
Well, my plan
I like their idea here. I think they're rolling in a good direction.
Hold them to checking back in with us. In an ideal world, Tony P, I would like to check in with them at least once a week, see what they've been working on, see what they've got
that would be
coming up.
huge for us. I think that would be awesome.
Great. Obviously, we have a good relationship with TMZ here.
They're owned by
They're
us.
on our air every single day.
Right.
Thank you to everyone out there who joined us tonight for the Live Zone Primetime, whether you're watching on Fox Local or Fox 5 DC's YouTube page. Tony P and I, we're here every single night, so
every
you can
night.
find
Just
us
like
at 9
TMZ.
o'clock. Fox 5 News at 10 coming your way next, right here on Fox Local.